Hi, this is Matt with AppliancePartsPros.com. Today we'll be showing you how to repair your appliance. Remember, anytime you work on an appliance, make sure it's unplugged or the circuit breakers are off so there's no chance of electrocution. In this video we're going to show you how to change out the Whirlpool Duet dryer drive motor. It's going to be a very easy repair and it should only take a few minutes to show you how to do it. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can click on the link below or get it at AppliancePartsPros.com. When you open up the package, you're going to get a couple instruction sheets, a few wire connectors, and a wire protector, also the motor. The drive motor has the belt on one end and the blower on the other. The main reason you'd be changing it out is if the motor shorted out and it's not working. In order to get to the part, we have to take off the top of the machine. It's held in on the back with 3/4 inch screws, which we can take out to get the top off. Once you have the screws out, you can pull back a little bit on the top and lift it off the machine. Now that we have the top off, we can remove the console. So first we have to take out these 3 screws that hold in the computer board. Now that we have the screws out, we can take this panel and rotate it upwards. We can remove the ribbon cables. We're going to use a small screwdriver and press on the locking tabs. Now we can remove the 2 screws that hold in the console and remove it. Now that we have the screws out, we can open up the door, and you need to grab the console like this and flex it towards you so the tabs that are holding the console in place release, and then you can lift it out. As long as we have the door open, we can take the lint screen out because we have to remove the lint duct. And then we can close the door. So we're going to remove the access panel. It's held in by 2 1/4 inch screws, 1 in each corner. We have to remove this duct, so we have to first remove this bracket. The mounting screw is back here, and 2 screws on the top. They're all 1/4 inch, so we're going to use our nut driver and take them out. Now that we have the lint duct housing out, we can disconnect the moisture sensor wiring harness. If you have to, take a small screwdriver and pop it apart. There's little tabs on each side to release it. Now we can remove the front panel. All we have to do is remove these 2 lower screws. We can take off the 2 upper screws. They're behind the front panel. We can loosen up these 2 front screws. You don't have to take them all the way out. Just loosen them up about halfway so we can lift off the front panel. Last thing we have to do before we can pull the front off is remove the door switch wire harness. It's this 3-wire connector right here. Again, you can take a small screwdriver and release the tabs and pull it off. Once you have it disconnected, you can take this control board and kind of get it up out of the way so we can work on the dryer. Now that we have the front panel off, we have more access and we can move this drum a little bit up out of the way, and we can reach back inside and take the belt off. You need to reach back and find the idler pulley and pull it back to release the tension on the belt so you can get it off the motor pulley. Now that we have the belt off the idler pulley, we can use the belt to lift up the drum and guide it out of the dryer. Now that we have the drum out of the way, we can take out these 2 screws that hold in this bracket. When you're pulling this off, make sure you're nice and gentle so you can reuse these foam seals if you can. On the front of the wheel, it actually has an arrow and it says remove, and it tells you which way to remove it, which is right instead of left, so it's got reverse threads. So what we're going to do is take a 1/2 inch drive and stick into this square hole in the front and use that to turn the blower. On the back side of the motor by the pulley, we want to take a 7/8 inch wrench and put it on the drive pulley so we can hold the motor still as we turn the blower. The blower wheel may be on there a little tight. Just make sure you break it free and then you can get it off the motor. Whether you're changing the blower wheel or taking it off to get the motor out, you always take the chance that over the years it's just stuck onto the motor shaft. In our case, the 1/2 inch drive actually cracked the blower wheel. We're going to show you how to chisel it off. You want to get in here with your chisel and a hammer and crack the blower wheel off the shaft so we can get into the insert and get it off so we can take the motor out. Now that we have the blower wheel out of the way, we can take out these 3/4 inch screws that hold the motor bracket to the blower housing. Now that we have those screws out, we can go to the back of the motor and unplug the wire harness and take out the mounting screws. To get the wire harness off, we're going to take a small flathead screwdriver and pop off the retaining clip. There's one on the top and one on the bottom. Then we can remove the 5/16 nuts that hold the motor tray in. Now that we have those out, we can pull up the whole motor assembly. Here's the old drive motor next to the new drive motor. If you already have one of these, great. If not, you can get it at appliancepartspros.com. The one thing with this motor is it's made for many different dryers, so you have to read the instruction sheet to see what changes you have to make to your particular motor. On ours, all we have to do is put on this piece of wire protector so the wire doesn't hit on the bottom of the motor. In order to get the motor out of the bracket, we have to take a small flathead screwdriver and press down on these mounting clips. Then we can tilt it up and disconnect these 2 wires that go to the broken belt switch. This one's pretty easy to remember where it goes. Just remember the small one goes right below this plastic line. Now that we have those disconnected, we can lift the motor out and put the new motor in. You want to make sure that this bottom notch is in the bracket right here. Now that we have the motor in the tray, we can reattach the clamps. All you have to do is hook one side on and then press down on the other side with your screwdriver to lock it in. To put the wire protector on, all you have to do is kind of split the tube and feed the wire up into it and slide it down. And make sure it's down underneath the motor. You want to make sure that the wire doesn't rub up against the motor. And then we can connect the wire and connect the other wire to the motor. Now that we have the motor installed in the bracket, we can put it back in the dryer. When you put the motor tray back in, make sure that the tabs on the bracket go into these mounting holes. Now we can put the motor back in the dryer. You want to make sure that the blower end of the shaft goes through the blower housing, that the mounting tabs match up and go into the mounting holes in the floor, and then we can put the screws back in that hold the tray down. Now that we have the motor mounted, we can reattach the wire harness. All you have to do is snap it into place and make sure it locks. Now that we have the part installed, we can reassemble the dryer. Now we can replace these 3 screws that hold the blower housing in, put the blower back in, and replace the cover. Now we can put the blower wheel on. It's got the arrows on it that tell us which way to tighten it. So remember, it's got reverse thread. All you have to do is line it up, put it on the shaft. You don't have to tighten it down super tight. Just grab the back of the motor shaft, hold it, and tighten it down a little bit. When the motor runs, it'll tighten it down. Now we're going to put this blower cover on. It's held down by a couple 1/4 inch screws. You get one started, and get the other one lined up, tighten them both down. Now we can put the drum back in the dryer. When you put it in, you want to make sure that the rear of the drum rests on these rollers. Once it's in, we can hook up the belt through the idler. You may see a black line where your old belt was riding. You want to put it right on that same line, and you want to make sure that the grooves are down and the colored part is up. Remember when you're putting the drum back in the dryer to make sure that this little silver tab is towards the front of the dryer. Now we're going to reach underneath the drum and run the belt through the pulleys. Now that we have the belt on, you can carefully give the tub a spin to make sure that it's not twisted as it goes around the drum. When you're putting the front panel on, you want to make sure that the drum is on these rollers. So you got to kind of angle it in like this, lift the drum up a little bit, and once you have the wheels on the drum, then you can lift the front panel up and hang it on the top mounting screws. Now we can finish securing the front panel. We can secure the two wiring harnesses, the moisture sensor at the bottom, and the door switch harness at the top. We can put the lint filter duct back in and put the access panel back in the front. Now we can put in the control panel. You want to make sure that these tabs right here go into these openings on each end. Then we can hook up the ribbon cables for the control board and put the screws in. Then we can hook up the ribbon cables that go to the controls. There's two of them. The big one goes on top, has a little locking tab in the center. Make sure you get it down all the way and that it locks into place. Now that we have everything reconnected, we can rotate the mounting panel back over and put the 3 screws back in. Now we can put the top back on. When you put the top on, you want to make sure that these tabs go underneath this piece right here. You want to set the top down a little bit back from the console and then slide it forward so they lock. Now we can put the lint filter back in and you can close the dryer door. Now that we're done repairing the appliance, we can plug it back in and take it for a test spin. Thanks for joining us for another successful repair brought to you by AppliancePartsPros.com. Check out our other repair videos on our site, Facebook, and YouTube.